So what is my truthful opinion about selling in the Etsy print-on-demand space or in the handmade space as a handmade seller myself? If you've been following my channel since the beginning, you will know that I have built 2 different Etsy brands, both of which were in the handmade category. So I don't do print-on-demand or digital downloads, but I can talk about it because the marketing strategies and the go-to-market strategy is pretty similar. It's just the product is, well, you don't touch the product in print-on-demand or digital downloads, but the overall business model remains the same. But now having a full understanding and have watched this Etsy market progress over the last 5 years, I definitely see a clear line of trajectory of where this may all be headed. If you've been following me for a while, you also know that I definitely do not like to sell people the dream about what it takes to build a business, whether you're selling on Etsy or not. And different people have different opinions, and that is why the title is My Truthful Opinion. This is my opinion based off what I've seen for the last 5 years and where it's going. And this video is speaking to Etsy print-on-demand sellers and handmade sellers like myself. When you look at Etsy as a collective, the nature of Etsy compared to the other options out there is considered low barrier of entry. So Etsy historically is an easier platform to literally start launching stuff and getting sales right away compared to that of a Shopify store or an Amazon store. Now, when you factor in this whole new print-on-demand space, right, you're now adding an even easier or less barrier of entry because you don't ever have to touch the product. And so while the nature of Etsy is really cool because you can just build a brand in a single day and start launching stuff, and you have options to sell things that you never even have to touch the product, with that comes a rise in competition. My number one opinion is that it's not gonna be for the lighthearted. It's only gonna be for serious sellers. I definitely can come off a little cutthroat in my videos. I also think that contributes to the quality of you guys. I feel like I have really good quality people that watch my videos that are not these, people that are looking to get rich quick or looking for side hustles, because I don't talk about business in that way. And I really appreciate the people that do watch my videos. And I don't want to say that I'm cutthroat, but I'm definitely not going to beat around the bush when I'm talking about, the sacrifices and what it really takes to be successful online. One of the most annoying things that I experienced when I first making YouTube videos and started consulting for people, which I don't really even offer. I'm not even selling a course. I really just talk about software and legit software that I actually use for my business. But when I was first getting on the phones and consulting or whatever, one of the worst things, or that would irk me, would be like, what are your goals? And they would be like, well, my goal is to make, an extra $5,000 to $10,000 a month profit. But, it's just kind of like a side hustle thing that I do on the side. Whether it was 5 years ago or today, I just think that's such a poor approach to business. It's not wrong. Some people do it. Some people have managed to do it, but it's just such a backwards mentality if you're really trying to come into this game and build something meaningful. Because even if you do allow that mentality to carry you into making a good amount of money for the long play, when we're talking about really owning a business that is a well-rounded, competitive business, that mentality is not going to serve you when the stakes do get higher. So I like to say that it's a very short-sighted approach to business. It's not going to serve you in the long play. When you open a business, when you say, hi, my name's Hannah, I'm going to open and register a business and I live in Florida, the state of Florida, you're basically like birthing a child. And when you have a child, you're never just only thinking about it on the weekends or when it's convenient for you. It's something that you're obsessing with all the time until it's like self-sufficient, But even then, once you get your business to a point where it is not only running by itself and growing by itself with employees, you're still managing your employees. It's not that your foot is off the gas pedal. It's just somebody else's foot is on the gas pedal and you're making sure that they're pushing the gas pedal properly. And with all that being said, in print on demand specifically, when you're competing in a landscape with a lot of people that are also able to enter with the same ease as you, it's not going to be for, oh, I'm just going to do this on the side, or I'm going to try this out for 3 months and then I'm going to quit. The mindset should really be, I see the opportunity. I see what shops are killing it and that are at the top, and I'm not going to stop until I acquire the necessary skills, learn what I need to learn, invest the money that I need to invest until I am one of the people that are making, not necessarily that you're the top shop on Etsy, but you're a competitive shop making the income you want that has done all the competitive things that have built you a moat around your business entity that is setting you up for the long term. And with that being said, could you be a dime in a dozen and you just start print on demand today and you have a viral product that makes you a whole bunch of sales because you just hit it on the nail with your design? Yes, that potential is there, but for the masses of people watching this video, that's not normally the case for the mass majority of people starting a POD business or a regular handmade Etsy business. So to summarize, my first opinion, it's not gonna be for the lighthearted, it's gonna be for the serious sellers that are willing to sacrifice to make it work, basically. And honestly, even when it was less competitive and I first started out, I entered one of the most competitive niches at the time, and that was my mentality. I am literally not going to stop until I'm making the income I want. And that's basically what I did. My next opinion also applies to POD and handmade sellers. This one I think hits home a lot closer with handmade sellers, so let's get into it. Emotional CEOs are going to get destroyed by data-driven CEOs. What does that mean? I hear comments a lot like, how am I supposed to compete when a bunch of people are just reselling things from China and adding personalization to it? Or the Etsy product landscape has changed and my products don't make sense for the platform anymore because I'm just getting drowned out. But when I talk to those sellers and then I look at their offerings, they haven't updated their listings, they haven't come out with new designs, they haven't done competitor research, they basically haven't done anything to stay up to date with the times and the new trends. A couple important points that we're gonna make at this stage. For people that got in at a point where it was relatively easy to make sales, they didn't really have to spend a lot of money on ads, you know, you're kind of just happy with the income you're making and you had like immediate sort of success. This is really great, obviously, but it also is kind of a con as well, because when times do get tough or the market does change, you immediately think that you're failing, but you're actually not failing. The competitive landscape is just changing and you're not staying up to date. Like that's literally what it comes down to. And so a lot of times, some of my clients that experience this automatically assume that they need to start pivoting and getting off Etsy, or I need to go to Shopify. But in reality, if you can't make Etsy work, then it's gonna be a lot harder for you to make Shopify work. Unless you're just a natural content creator that just kills it with making content on behalf of your products. In that case, freaking, I would skip Etsy altogether and just make content and go the Shopify route. But the point is here is it's kind of like being a shark in the ocean, you know? A shark in the ocean is never looking behind it because it's at the top, right? It's never looking for, you know, something to eat it because it eats everything. And when you become the shark, it's really, really dangerous because unless you have built such a strong moat around your business that it just makes you untouchable, you will have competition at some point or another. So it's always good to be regularly refreshing your competitor analysis and seeing what new things are out there. Just like on a high level, how big brands die, Etsy listings have a lifespan and die out too if you're not constantly updating them and staying with the current times and trends. And so the second you see your sales not on this continual upward trend, or maybe they're plateauing or maybe even decreasing, it's not the time to get emotional and get mad at Etsy and say that it's Etsy's fault. It's the time to look internally and reflect on some of the things that you could or should be doing that you're not doing. If you feel like you've been getting value from this video so far, my name is Hannah. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have dedicated thousands of hours of giving free information about everything that I've learned in e-commerce on Etsy and Shopify since I started. If you go back to my beginning videos, you will see where we started. So thank you so much for watching. Let's get back into the video. Another example of emotional CEOs is kind of like the example we already said, you know, how am I supposed to compete if everybody I'm competing with is just reselling cheaper stuff from China? Well, my answer to that is that's a selling point for you. When I go into your listings and I look at your video or your photography, there's nothing in there about your marketing that's telling me that you have a higher value proposition, is that you're not just reselling things from China, you're hand making your goods. Tell me that story. Tell me how you make your goods. Tell me that you started this business because you learned how to sew and you have a passion for sewing. Show me that video. Show me those graphics in your image. Put those images of you working on your shop in your listing. Visually tell that story in your listings. You have 10 image slots in there. This storytelling is going going to set you apart from people that are just undercutting the market with cheaper stuff, right? If you're hand making your goods, you probably have another value proposition in there as well, that your quality is probably better. But if you're not advertising that quality or making graphics or icons that are pointing that out, putting it in the face of the seller, right? No one's gonna know. So if you have a value proposition that makes you unique or better, that justifies your price, you need to include that in your marketing. People aren't gonna just know that, and they will judge you just based off price if you're not out marketing the people that are cheaper than you. And there always will be a percentage of people that are willing to spend more money just because of the perceived value or the love that went into it, or that you're actually supporting a small business. Another example where I see people get really emotional and discouraged is when your designs or your products get ripped off. And this is the one that specifically hits home with handmade sellers specifically. And this is where I have to explain this point. When you decide to start a business, this is going to happen no matter what you're doing. And I think it hits home a lot harder with handmade sellers because there's so much love and work that goes into your products like ours. And yes, it hurts, but it is the nature of the game of being in business, no matter what you're doing. Whether flipping land goes viral on TikTok, everyone is gonna wanna flip land. If Airbnbs go viral, everyone and their mother is gonna want an Airbnb, and everyone's gonna be competing against each other with who has the best kid rooms or who has the best sauna in their house, right? It doesn't matter what business you're in. Competitors are never gonna go away. And the emotional CEOs get discouraged and let down and start pivoting because of the competition. But data-driven CEOs listen to the market and implement change to continue to be more competitive. So when you sign up and say, today I'm gonna become an Etsy seller, or today I'm gonna start an e-commerce brand, you have to consent to the fact that this is going to happen, especially in print on demand where people can rip your designs in 2 seconds. In 2022, I had one listing make me over $300,000. I had people stealing the image. I had people stealing the exact design. I had Chinese manufacturers taking it, molding it, and reselling it on Amazon with my images and my videos for a quarter of the price. So I would get complaints on Etsy that they could get it cheaper on Amazon when it wasn't me selling it on Amazon, and actually my quality was way better. And it was exactly my design because I'm the one designed it, and it was the only design that existed on the internet. So it could only have come from one place, which is my Etsy shop. This one product listing got featured in magazines. We got so much PR. It was just a viral product. And yeah, that happens. That is the nature of having hot products. But if you get emotional and let that inhibit you from being creative on the next 10 bestsellers that you're gonna come out with, then you're not really doing yourself a favor. It's better for you to deal with the situation. So in our case, we obviously fought it on Amazon. We didn't sell on Amazon. So, you know, it was really hard for us to get it taken down because we weren't Amazon or sellers ourselves, but we had to prove that we had ownership of the image and the design. Eventually we got it taken down. But if I let that just kill me and eat me alive for the next month, that could have been a month wasted of me not focusing on new future best-selling products. So it's not that it's not gonna hurt, but it's not in your best interest to let it eat so much of your brain energy to where you can't be creative, because you need to be creative in this game to be able to come out with more potentially viral or just good selling products that people enjoy. And so the moral of the story here is, if you are like me and you have a fundamental belief that e-commerce is only going to continue to grow, it's only going to continue to expand, right? You can just know that it's going to become more competitive, and that is part of this game. But try as much as you can to remove the emotional aspect and make your next best decisions based off data, based off what the market's telling you, based off what your customers telling you they want, based off of your best-selling listings, based off of your listings that make you the most money, right? Based off all of these real data points that should help guide you forward in business. And finally, my third opinion about where this is all headed is that from what I've seen since I first started out, right, it was really just about, do you have a good product and can you take some good images? And we kind of already touched on this, but I think moving into 2025, it's gonna be more important to build a brand that is storytelling. So we kind of already touched on this before, but I wanna emphasize this a lot deeper, right? And even on Etsy, you still have a lot of opportunities to do this with your images and your videography, right? Put a face behind the brand. Tell your customer your mission, your vision, and your why. Why did you start this company, right? I think that especially in POD, this is gonna separate you in a world where anyone can throw up, 50 new listings in a singular day. I also have a good feeling that videography is going to end up becoming way more vital in this business landscape, where people are not going to be looking at static images. They're going to want to only view the product via video. And I'm not saying that this is going to happen in 2025, but I have a good feeling that it's coming. And so if this is not a skill that you inherently have of learning how to market your products via video content or even having competitive imagery, it is going to be a skill that is going to become way more pressing in the future. So not only doing the videography, but learning how to story tell with the videography. And in my fundamental beliefs, in my belief bucket, if it's just a matter of acquiring a new skill, it's not really a barrier to entry, because I believe that I fundamentally can teach myself anything. That doesn't mean that I'm the best at everything, but if it's just a matter of knowledge and know-how, it's not a barrier to entry to the thing. And just circling back to the storytelling when it comes to selling your products, remember, all of the key value propositions that probably exist somewhere down in your product description that no one reads, throw those into your images. Point those out in infographics, in your video, right? You have a bunch of slot positions, use them the best you can. And if you're not somebody that's inherently good at doing video and stuff like that, put it maybe in your backlog that this is something for the future of your brand you will end up needing eventually. Study the videos that go viral, the different types of sounds. Get targeted by your competitors on TikTok and Instagram and see what they're doing. And again, it's not gonna make or break your store today, but I definitely think we're headed in that direction. Overall, guys, my name is Hannah Gardner, and I've been documenting my e-commerce journey on YouTube for over 5 years now. So if you think you got any value out of this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next video.